Update on the body cam front. So in prong one, Hardin had asked for the judge to reconsider his insane decision to classify evidence as not evidence. The judge denied that, and he denied it in a very meticulous way. However, it's not over, of course, because there are many other avenues to be taken, and we will pursue them all to the fullest extent possible. Chat. But he did really go out of his way to try and issue a very meticulously crafted opinion that tries to shut off as many angles of appeal as humanly possible. However, the main thing that he does is he says that on all matters of law, Hardin is completely correct. And that if this had been entered into evidence, then it would be public record and you'd be able to get the body cam footage. No questions asked. So on the matter of law, Hardin is admittedly, according to the judge, completely and totally correct. However, what he disputes is the matter of fact, that it was entered into evidence. And the issue is that the judge is basically not allowing him to argue or demonstrate that this was entered into evidence, because he's just shutting this down as quickly as possible and undoing his own decisions and his own determinations that it was entered into evidence. So the only course there is to appeal it and to try and get a appellate court judge who will listen to us, to make this distinction and say it was entered into evidence and is therefore evidence. And since the judge agrees on matter of law that if it was evidence, it should be publicly available, all we have to do is get an appellate court to hear that it was entered into evidence. As it turns out, by the way, the Minnesota appellate courts, state appellate courts, are some of the most appeal-friendly appellate courts in the entire country. They have an acceptance rate of something like 15 to 30%, which is much higher than the rest of the country, which has an acceptance rate of like 1 to 5%. So in terms of states to appeal in, Minnesota is actually one of the most favorable states in the entire country. So an appeal is actually being entered right now. I think they filed it today that they're appealing this decision. And I remind you that this is only prong one. Prong two is the actual FOIA request, which is a different civil case lodged against the county and some of its agents. So that's still ongoing. We will pursue this to the ends of the earth. Yeah. Also, no, I don't want to say that. I've learned my lesson, chat. Never talk about stuff. Things are happening, chat. Just trust me. Trust the plan. 2 more weeks. Rekieta not having such a great time, in fact. Upon hearing... this is his literal actual face celebrating his win, by the way. This is his actual face, elated. Pure joy. This is as good as it will ever get for him. He's having a big win. He did a 45-minute long victory lap around us because he won prong one in the lower court. So this is him absolutely elated to hear that he's a winner. He's a big W carrying Chad. And let's take a listen to what he has to say here, chat.
En masse towards the target and hope that one hits a bullseye.
He's talking about our legal strategy here. Farted. Nick Rekieta started on Livestream. Now, you may remember a similar incident where Ethan Ralph sharded on Livestream. And Nick Rekieta listened to this on live and made a scrunchy, silly face at Ethan Ralph sharding, and this almost caused Ethan Ralph to go after his entire family. I think Ethan Ralph actually did specifically call his children like disabled looking mongoloids or something. Rekieta is very concerned about his children, by the way, which is why it is completely inappropriate that anybody watch the evidence that he entered into evidence with the body cam footage, because his children in it, because he's so protective of them. Not protective enough to keep his house clean or his children safe from cocaine, and also not protective enough to keep distance from somebody who called his children retarded because Rekieta made a silly face at him farting. He is now the farter himself, chat. Nick Rekieta has to bend the knee to Ethan Ralph. Really tragic. Sucks to be Rekieta.